Welcome to the Honest Recruiter podcast, powered by MrL Consulting Group, the no-filter podcast about working in the recruitment industry. Hear about real-life consultants and business owners talking about everything recruitment, leaving out zero detail. If you already work in recruitment or are thinking about working in recruitment, sit back and enjoy the ride. Hi everybody, and welcome to the third Honest Recruiter podcast. We're here today to talk all things recruitment. Now today we've got the lovely Jamie Witten, who is one of our account managers working on our software team. So today's podcast is all about your first year in recruitment. So it's the frank and honest version. So no pressure, Jamie. So again, I said this to all our kind of people who come on first. Before we start, I want to give you a bit of an introduction. But before I do that, a bit like blind date, it's probably easy if you kind of do it yourself. So you've been at MrL now for around 14 months?
Yeah, so April 2018. Yeah, so about 14 months.
Yeah, so the whole podcast today is about your first year in recruitment. And it's kind of no holds barred, hashtag no filter.
Honesty.
Kind of honest and kind of frank. So just to kind of get back into it and kind of start straight away, why, a bit about you, what made you get in recruitment?
I have quite an interesting story coming into recruitment, really. Well, it's not that interesting, but I wouldn't say it's your most natural path in. I sort of fell into recruitment.
Yeah.
So my background was in more like, I left school and spent 6 years as a car body repair technician.
In Storrington?
In Storrington, near you, yeah.
Near me, yeah.
Yeah. So I spent 6 years doing that, and then I was actually approached by a friend of mine who I knew from school, and then from outside of school we continued to be mates. And he called me up one day and he said, "I'm working for this recruitment company in Brighton."
Did you know what recruitment was?
Well, not really.
I'd
never really heard about it, and I don't know why, because I can't believe that now.
Everyone falls into it. I don't think anyone went, you know what, Dad or Mum, I'm going to be a recruiter.
That's true, yeah. But I think I sort of came from a different way, as in like most people might either go straight in from uni or something like that, or do some kind of sales, maybe like estate agent or something like that. I think it's a bit more common. But yeah, he literally rang me up one day and said, I think you'd be good at this. Why don't you come and speak to the boss? So,
what made him think that you would be good at it?
Well, he sold it to me as, you know, this job where you spent your whole time working, talking to people,
right?
Which is true, and not much more than that, really. And he knew me as a person, and you know, I like talking to people and that sort of thing. So it did seem to suit my attributes, if you like.
Kind of
yeah,
guy.
yeah. It did kind of seem to suit my attributes, if you like. So, and I just wanted to change, I think. So maybe that's why I took the nudge. So I actually done a little stint in recruitment before I joined MrL, a great little company in Brighton, but it was more local, and it was specialising in like digital marketing and that sort of thing. So kind of your sort of thing, your sort of thing. And that, to be honest with you, you know, really did help me coming into MrL as part of the academy. So I still came in as a, you know, very new in recruitment because I was. But I'm grateful that I had the opportunity to start in a slightly, or in a much smaller company. There was only 3 or 4 of us at the time, but it taught me all the basic kind of and raw skills to help bring into MrL. So that's how I fell in.
Yeah. So looking on the outside in, obviously your mate approached you when you were working in a lad banter workshop.
Yeah.
Like the complete opposite to what MrL's like.
Yeah.
What did you think of recruitment, like looking in? Like what, when he was like, oh yeah, I work in recruitment, what was your initial kind of thoughts of what is that?
I thought it was very much as he described it, which was, I was sold. You know, he sold it to me as...
Was he quite successful doing it then?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And he was reasonably new to it as well, but not that new. And he sold it to me as a people's person job, if you like.
Yeah.
And I don't really have a much better way of describing it than that. You know, everyone says, you can earn X amount of money, hundreds of thousands of pounds,
10 grand each month,
exactly, right? So that got chucked in there, obviously.
Where can I start now?
Yeah, exactly. So it was a mix of, earning potential and scope of progression, and also the fact that I was going to be working with people and speaking to people every day. So that's what I thought of it. And then I spoke to a lot of people, you know, close to me about it, and everyone went, "Oh, that's hard. That's really hard."
Yeah.
So it was like the people who I knew that were in the profession, if you like, were selling it up. Oh, it's great. You know, can't go wrong. Just work with people, speak to people, earn loads of money.
Yeah.
And the people who had really never done it were saying to me, "Oh, that's really hard. That's meant to be really hard."
Did you think of it as like a sales job?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Which I liked because I was really interested in sales. I just never went down that route when I finished school.
Right. It's interesting because I never, similar to you, you fall into it, but you don't. I never thought of it as like a sales role until you're in the environment.
Really.
I think coming from it from a marketing angle, it was like you can market anything.
Yeah,
you're just in the marketing team, so you've got salespeople. But in recruitment, I was like, well, it's not selling, is it? But then it is. The product's just people that you're selling, isn't it?
Exactly. The best type of product.
Yeah. So, like you mentioned, your route here is slightly different because you obviously did the MrL Academy, which for people that don't know and who are listening is our graduate, not graduates, you don't have to be a graduate, anyone can do it. It's kind of the rookie's way into recruitment. Yeah. Basically.
Yeah, it's starting fresh. It's starting from scratch.
You could know nothing about recruitment at all. You could barely spell recruitment.
Absolutely.
And you can come in and then we train you up to be a world-class recruiter.
Exactly.
Well, I don't, Terry does.
Yeah.
Who heads up kind of our academy. So you obviously done a little stint before coming to MrL. How long were you there for?
I was there 9 months.
Okay, so you kind of had a bit of a...
Yeah. When I say little stint, I mean sort of compared to the one I've had now.
Yeah, so we are cheating everyone at the podcast because you've actually done 2 years.
It's your first 12 months in recruitment, but really it's first 12 months at MrL.
But, you know, I think that's a valid point because I think where different companies do things slightly differently, we definitely here have a unique approach, how we train our academy staff, even from our consultants who don't go through the academy. They're very taught in a very granular level, and I think it's really important to kind of get that across and to demonstrate to people how it's kind of done. So what was your first week like here then?
It was great, you know, it was great. It was intense, you know.
Was it like you got here and thought, shit, this is like really intense?
I turned up and I'd never worked with so many people. I've always worked for 7 years in smaller teams.
Yeah.
So I turned up, you know.
So this was quite corporate then for you?
It was, very. Yeah. And I loved that. I mean, just because I hadn't experienced it, but I turned up and it was just this.
Did you wear a suit?
I did for my interview.
Yeah, obviously.
Of course, yeah.
But on your first day?
No, you're smart cash.
Yeah.
Smart cash. It's got to be the way forward.
And then everyone's wearing flip-flops. You're like, shit.
Yeah.
The next day I wear a vest.
Exactly. No, I think, to be fair, it did take me a little while, and I was emailing one of the guys that I'd met in the interview, kind of saying, what should I wear? But yeah, so I turned up, and it was, you know, same as most first days, a little bit daunting, a little bit intimidating, but I was very lucky that I started with two other people who were also part of the academy, so I wasn't just on my own, which was great, and it really helped. And I was just buzzing. I was just absolutely buzzing, like to be here, to meet everyone. Everyone was really nice, really welcoming, and I was just kind of staring around the place.
What were you most nervous about? Obviously, going from kind of digital marketing to like real high-end level kind of tech.
Yeah, I mean, I think I was probably just nervous about how good I was going to be, if you like. I tend to put a reasonable amount of pressure on myself in most things I do, to be fair, just because I like to do things well. I would say that's the thing I was most nervous about. Making friends, you know, are people going to like me? Exactly. Are people going to like me? That sort of thing. But the first week was great. It was, you know, it's intense. There's a lot to learn.
I guess especially with the academy, it's full on training.
It is, yeah. The first week was like that. It was.
It's like classroom style.
Yeah, but in a nice way. It wasn't boring at all, anything like that.
There's no cane involved.
No. So yeah, it was good fun. A lot to take in. A lot of names to learn.
So what was it like on the Friday, on like that first week? Were you like, my brain is fried?
Yeah, definitely. And I think, you know, one of the hardest things was taking on board all of the information, as in about the markets. You know, you have to learn not only what you're doing in the job on a day-to-day basis, but the markets, you know, what market you're working in. You need to know that inside out. And we had different specialists coming in talking to us about their market and going in depth about all the products they work with.
And you're like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
And I was, Billy, honestly, I literally sat there like, oh yeah, taking this in, and inside I'm like, oh no.
Crying over
yeah.
But on that, is it, because it's quite, I think the way we want this to come across is it is quite honest and frank, where, was it like, I don't fucking do this? Did it get to that? Or was it, you've done it 9 months before?
No, not in the first week. Not in the first week. I felt good. I felt like I had a little bit of a step up, because a lot of the things that were being spoken about, as in like recruitment.
Yeah. What is it?
Recruitment jargon. I knew.
Right. Okay.
Some of.
You had a little step up.
Yeah. And it just made me a little bit more comfortable. So definitely it wasn't ever to the point where I was like, I don't know if I can do this.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, all the training, I think we were training for about maybe 2-3 weeks, maybe even up to a month.
Yeah.
Like on and off with Terry and the guys. And I can't remember any part of that not being enjoyable. Honestly. You know, a lot to take in, but loved it. Yeah. So it was no point during that period of time where I was ever like, 1, I don't want this. 2, I don't know if I can do this. It was always, I love it.
I think a lot of it as well, it's because it's it's very practical. It's not you're sat and you've got a book and you're writing notes. Obviously there's elements of that, but you're kind of thrown in the deep end a bit with doing like role plays with the consultants, and you're messing up, but you kind of, everyone's getting involved and you're learning. Like we did training the other day, and we had a queue outside of people coming in to do stuff, and they mess up. They're like, shit, I fucked up. But then it's like, that's kind of part of it, isn't it?
Yeah, and it can be a little bit daunting, especially if you're not really used to that sort of thing. You know? Like you said, doing the role plays and stuff like that. Some people, I think, including myself, maybe sometimes find that a little bit daunting. When you've just started a new job and you're on the phone.
Everyone does.
Yeah, you're on the phone to your manager whilst you've got 2 other people sat there watching what you're doing. You know.
Yeah.
But
do you think it's about mindset?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%. But without a doubt.
And I think it's so hard to say when you coming in at such a young age. If this could be like your second job, when you could be like from graduation, year and a half later, you're 23, 22, 23. If someone says to you, you've got to have the right mindset. If someone said to me I was 22, I'd be like, what? Yeah. But I'm fine. I know what I'm doing.
What do you even mean?
Yeah. So what do you think is important? How do you think your mindset's got to be?
I do really think it is so important, and it has to be. You've got to be strong mentally. I think, to be honest.
Is that because it's so much new information, or is it because of the tech? Or
I do. There is a lot to take on. You need to believe in yourself 100%. You need to believe that you can do it. You need to believe that you can be successful. You need to want to be successful.
Yeah.
For that first period, the mindset is important, and I think, if you're not those things, if you don't sit there and want it for 1, and you don't sit there and think you can do it for 2, it's not really going to work.
But also, I think on the flip side of that, the trainers here will push you in a way so they're getting the right things out of you.
Yeah,
so absolutely. If you are kind of this role plays and you're like, I can't do it, or you mess up and you're like, I can't do this, I'm just crap at this. They turn it around where an hour later you're like, I want to do it in front of everybody because I've kind of got this.
And that happened. That did happen.
Really?
With all 3 of us. Yeah. That were in that training. You do get to a point where maybe you're not like, oh, I can't do this, but you need a bit of help.
Of course you do.
That mindset that you need sort of breaks off a bit, and then you have the management and not even just the management, but anyone who you're talking to at lunch break saying, oh yeah, I find it a little bit tough. They just give you that little bit of advice or that little nudge to help you get that mindset back.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you don't have it all the time, which is hard to do, people struggle at times, definitely including myself, you're helped. So
everyone says you've got to be resilient in marketing. In marketing? In marketing. In recruitment, you've got to be really resilient, because it's that constant pushback and constant no. Like, you've got to kind of be really thick-skinned. Do you think you kind of had a bit of that anyway before you joined recruitment, or that kind of just naturally come?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I would say that I had like massively thick skin. I wouldn't say that I didn't, but I never really maybe needed it or took that much notice of it before.
Yeah.
But I think sat here now, like, oh my God, 100% you need it.
Yeah.
You really do need it.
And do you think it's helped you, this sounds so like, find yourself, but like, getting older, do you feel like, because you've got your service in at work, it's helped you outside of work?
Definitely. 100% recruitment has helped me outside of work in many ways. Maybe this is the first sales job I've had, if you like, recruitment, but maybe all sales jobs are like that. You know, they do boost your confidence and they do help you in situations outside of work. So yeah, 100%, I would say it does.
So after your initial training then, so 3 months in, so it's 3 months you're in, done. You've had that training is finished. You've kind of graduated, let's say. Was it like, right, here's the phone, here's a computer, here's LinkedIn Recruiter, off you go?
Not as much that as in like, right, get on with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, essentially you've done your training, like you said, you've graduated the academy, and here are your tools.
You throw your hat in the air like graduation.
Here are your tools. Go with it. But not like you're left to do it on your own.
Yeah.
But
do you like having someone there right next to you going, okay, this is how you can do this better, or do you quite like it where it's you're left on your own a little bit and it's that helps there when you're just asking for it?
It's a good question, actually, because I think at times maybe a little bit of both. Probably more to, especially in the first 6 months, I would say, I liked having someone there, and appreciated having someone there, and I always did, whether it was Terry, the head of account management, or Rory, who was my business development manager. There was always someone there to help me.
But you know what? A lot of recruitment companies say, yeah, we have that. We've got that support network. It's there.
But do they?
Yeah. I think this is probably one of the best support networks there is.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you do hear things, don't you, when you speak to people who have worked in different places that maybe in other companies. And I don't know
that's no fault of no fault of other companies.
No.
I think a lot of it is because we have the luxury here of having trainers who work for MRL, but also manage people within the business.
Yeah.
Other recruitment companies, they don't have that luxury.
No, exactly.
So the people who are training you are consultants that are billing. So they've got to go, I've got to bill money. So Bob sat next to them, who's got to bill 250 grand this year. The last thing he wants to do is sit and constantly help Jamie all the time because he's got to be billing.
Yeah, and that was something that I was concerned about. And that is the case here. Everyone here is billing, and they're helping you when they've got their own stuff to be doing as well.
Yeah.
And that was something I thought, surely that doesn't happen. But it does, it really does. And I was always told from the word go when I joined here, ask anyone, whether it's, front office, back office, accounts, admin, ops,
but I think people
sales,
are so afraid to do that.
Everyone will help you.
People are afraid to ask.
Yeah, of course, especially when you're maybe new, You are. You don't want to annoy people.
You don't want to look like you're failing.
No, you don't, yeah. But I think you have to ask. That's something I would say, is that you have to ask. I think if it gets stupid and someone else is doing your job for you, then yeah, of course, but to a certain degree, you need to be comfortable asking for help, because people will help you.
How did it change then from like month 3 to 6? Because that's quite a big jump from coming in, hi, this is the MrL Academy, to month 6, you're speaking to a shitload of candidates, and you've got to learn. How long did it take you to kind of learn the market?
Well, I think that's the difference. 3 to 6 months, I would say, is where it sort of turned, and you really start to understand the markets, the market that you're working in. So I would say that was for me.
So people could be listening to this and go, it took you 6 months to learn the market.
I'm still learning now, Billy, honestly. I really am. When I look back on maybe 3 months in, 6 months into now, I know a lot more about my market than I did then. But I'm still learning every day.
Do you take time aside out your day to do that?
Not like every day. I always find that the best way to learn about your market is by speaking to people who are working in it. That's what helped me. Just like speaking to as many people and asking the questions. People like to talk about themselves at the end of the day. They do. And people like to talk about their jobs. So if you ask the right questions, they'll talk for ages, and you pick stuff up and you remember stuff, and then all of a sudden you can start dropping a company name in or a keyword in, you know. Realistically, a lot of us, or most of us, don't know how to do the jobs of the people that we're trying to find jobs for, but we know how to talk about it.
Yeah.
So
I think of it like acting.
Yeah, and it is.
Like I went to drama school,
acting.
and I just think, well, it's the same. Like,
to a certain degree,
the script you're learning is not a play; it's a job spec.
Yeah.
And you're learning that market, and then you can't go, I actually quite like this market. I want to go to these trade shows and actually sit and listen about it.
Yeah, it does start off like that, and it almost, I don't know about everyone else, but for me, it did kind of start off as, right, rehearse your pitch, get to know your pitch, but don't be too robotic. But then all of a sudden, you actually start to take a real interest in the actual market you're recruiting for.
When you say about, did you ever rehearse in the mirror?
No. Not my mirror.
How do you do it? Is it driving home in the car? Was it just sat at your desk?
Yeah, I would say it's sat at the desk. I when I first joined, and let's say I was having to pitch a job to someone, I liked to write something out. You know, I believe that you should always prep going to a call anyway, but when I was pitching a company or a job, I liked to write something out and then read over it in my head.
Yeah, and it's prompts for you, isn't it?
Yeah, and it wasn't like robotic, to be fair. I studied drama at school, so I've done a writing it as well. So I can read a script and kind of.
You're good at monologues.
Yeah, exactly. I can chuck in the odd. I can chuck in the pause in the right place or something like that. So, but that is something that I feel like helped definitely.
So 6 months in, then you're like, I'm starting to get to do this. When did you mess up? Like, people will want to know. Like, you're 12 months in, you've been doing it for like 14 months. There's got to be times where you've like royally messed up.
Yeah, I think.
And everyone messes up.
Yeah,
like,
sure.
all the time.
And it's only natural, isn't it? And I think I'm lucky that I've never had anything like catastrophic go wrong. Like, honestly, I haven't. But when I try and think about stuff that I've done wrong and really mucked up, would be something like arranging an interview at the wrong time.
Right.
For candidate and client, which is a nightmare, right? You know, you've got the candidate on the phone saying, "I'm here."
You're like, I don't know who the client is.
Yeah.
I'll get on the phone to them.
Yeah, and it's I struggled a little bit with time zones and stuff like that. So I have done that. Before. I've like organised an interview for the wrong time, so that both parties turned up. Oh, it's horrible.
Or when inside you're hot and you're like, shit, my boss is over there looking at me. And
you're like heart in mouth situation.
My manager is next to me, and I'm like, God, what do I do?
Oh, it's rubbish. Yeah. Like.
So what do you do? Just tell one of the guys?
Yeah, I think the nearest person next to me and
hands up.
Asked for some help quickly.
I messed up.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, it does happen, and I think especially the senior guys in this office have all done that sort of thing. Everyone's done it, right? So you get no one. I think I can't remember what the saying is, but it's like if the first mistake you do, learn from it, and then once you've learned from that mistake, don't do it again, sort of thing.
Yeah.
It's almost like you're allowed one.
Yeah. Have you learned from it then?
Yeah, definitely. Never done it again.
Yeah, that's good.
Luckily.
But a lot
it's just like double, triple, quadruple checking times.
A lot of the guys have all the time zones on their desk.
Oh, do they?
Around
really?
printed up,
yeah,
so
that's a good idea.
Instantly what it is. Or...
Yeah, see, that's a good idea. I just check Google now.
Oh yeah.
What is the time? What is the time in? But yeah, I mean I would say is probably the worst I've messed up, which is pretty bad. It doesn't look good, does it? It doesn't look good on me.
Sorry, David.
It doesn't look good. Yeah, it doesn't look good on the candidate either, or the client. I suppose,
are they still a client though?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, that's good. That's the main thing.
Worked around it.
Yeah, you spoke to them. You got that relationship with them, and if there is stuff, they know that it was Jamie the time zone.
You've got to hold your hands up, right? And I think most people will give you a chance at making a mistake once, which is fair enough.
Yeah, we're all human.
Exactly. So, you know, they were good people, and we worked it out.
So you've done 3 months. You've done 6 months in.
Mm-hmm.
You've been just under a year. You did it a year. If you could go back then to day one of you starting here, and that morning you knocked on the door and it was Jamie, 40 months older. What's that advice that you'd give yourself?
I mean, it sounds really obvious and sort of cliche, but just work hard. I wouldn't change a lot about the last 14 months of what I've done. I mean, you can always improve in a lot of areas, but I would just say get your head down and work hard and keep working hard. Maybe do a bit more research, market research. Like you said earlier, do you spend some time out of your day or out of hours researching your market? And I know a lot of people in this office do, which is incredible. Maybe do that. You know, I think you can always learn more. And that's not something I've done maybe enough of. So, yeah, just work hard and study a little bit more, probably.
So people think, oh, what, outside of hours? Like, I come to work, like, 8:30 to 6, I do my job, I go home, and that's what I'm going to do. I don't think that's the right mindset in recruitment.
No, it's not, 100%. It's an industry where you're sort of always working, if you like, and I mean that in the best way possible. Like, I don't want to sound like it's awful and to put people off, but
don't sugarcoat it.
No. Yeah, like you do. You're always thinking about it, and there's always more you can do.
Well, Rory said to us last week. He said, sometimes I get my email out and I'm doing some emails at 10:30 at night, but it's not every day. It's not a constant thing, is it?
No, and like you said, you're dealing with people. That's the thing. You know, when you're selling cars, when the shop closes at 6:30 on a Thursday night, no one's going to try and come and buy a car at 7 o'clock. So you can switch off. But when you're dealing with people, and people are working themselves, so you need to speak to people outside of hours.
Exactly, yeah.
People responding to emails outside of hours. So all of a sudden, if an important email goes off or a call goes off from a client or a candidate at 10 o'clock at night, you need to be responsive. Because at the end of the day, it's only going to benefit you.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. If stuff comes in that's not hugely important, most of the time, you might let it wait. But when something's important, you have to be reactive.
Definitely. I also think it's not an easy ride. You know, nowadays there's adverts on about the way of work of like Gen Z and millennials, how they think the world is different, and you like places like Facebook and Google offices. It's not everywhere's like that, and it's I think it's a bit of a reality check working in recruitment. People think, great, like you said, 10 grand a month paychecks. How realistic is that in your first year?
Not very. To be fair, like, it's possible. Don't get me wrong, it's absolutely possible, but you don't hear about it much. And I was always told, I was always kind of taught that the first 12 months in your recruitment career are the hardest. And I would probably say that's true, because you are learning, you're building a network up from scratch. You know, things go wrong, not a lot goes right. Yeah,
you're not guaranteed that commission because you've got to graft and
absolutely.
learn the market.
You know, and that's true. The first 12 months are hard, and I think if there's one thing I've learned about this industry is that it is hard work. Like, it really is, and I don't want to sugarcoat it, but at the same time, it's so incredibly rewarding. Like, it really, really is. When things are going right, there's just no better feeling.
So what is the biggest highlight then, would you say?
I think the biggest highlight, I mean, it's always good when you're performing, right?
Ringing that bell.
Yeah, banging that gong.
But it is though. You joke, like, it's such a great feeling to know, like, oh, I've done this. Like, that's me. Like, yeah, there's been the help from other guys, but I've been the one on the phone to those candidates. I've been speaking to the client. I've been their point of contact. Yeah. This has not been a hand-me-down by Janet or Paul. It's me. I've done this myself.
Exactly, and it is self-rewarding. It really does make you feel good about yourself. So I would, without trying to make it too broad, I would say performing, as in, you know, doing well figure-wise, and also when you're told something great by someone you've worked with, be it client or candidate. You know, a client says, "I'm really, really impressed with you. I'm really happy with the work you're doing." It's brilliant. No better feeling. And the other week, I had a candidate ring me up. We caught up after I'd got him a job months ago or whatever, and he's like, changed my life. Yeah. I know that sounds really like cliche recruiter. It does, but at the same time, it was such a good feeling. Like, this guy had rung me up and was just so happy, and was like, you know, thanking me, and that's not what I wanted, but at all. But it was just so nice to hear that it had actually changed someone's life for the better.
And no matter where you're working, in 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, he will remember you because you placed him.
Exactly.
And he will come back to you.
Yeah.
It's about lasting.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's that lasting impression, isn't it?
It's relationships, isn't it? Building relationships. So when you're doing well, when you're performing well, getting told that you've done something good by people you're working with, and also some of the trips we've been on have been, the highlights, the sales kickoffs and stuff like that. Portugal and then Barcelona. They've got to be up there as some of the highlights of this. And I'm not saying that every recruitment job's like that, right? I don't want to say that, but we've been lucky enough to have that. So that's they were obviously a highlight.
So money aside, what is it about recruitment that you like?
It is dealing with people, 100%.
Yeah.
Because
we are tarnished with a brush sometimes, where you are literally like the shit on someone's shoe.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's frustrating, and it's something that does frustrate me and everyone. But when you're valued, and when you know you're valued by people you're working with, it's a great feeling. It was sold to me originally as a job where you're working with people, and it's true, and that's, money aside, something I absolutely love about it. Get to travel, get to go and meet clients, get to go and meet candidates, and it's brilliant. It's almost like the opportunities are endless, really.
I guess as well for you, coming from kind of really small recruitment company, local recruitment, the idea of travelling across Europe to visit clients was something which you thought, there's no way that's going to happen.
No, like it never really crossed my mind. And to be fair, I didn't really know that it was part of the job.
Right.
I didn't really know that it was possible, and I was fine with that.
I think also we don't really sell it. It's not anything that you sell, but thinking about it, it should be, because we are. It's cliche, but you are travelling the world to see clients.
Yeah.
If you've got relationships and you are billing consistently with people, you will be visiting those offices. Just constantly keep those relationships ticking over.
Yeah.
And if they've got an office in Singapore or Miami, well, great, because you'll be going to see them.
People buy from people.
Exactly.
Don't they?
I love that saying.
It's great,
people
isn't it?
buy
It's
from
great,
people.
isn't it?
It's so true.
It's
in a world of digital that we are, you're still, internet is great and e-commerce is.
You can sit behind an email, you can sit behind the phone, but
you're never going to close a deal.
No. And at the end of the day, if you get in front of someone, there is so much more you can do, and that is one of the parts of the job that I've absolutely loved, getting in front of people, and being able to go to places that I've never been before, and experience that type of thing. It's been great.
So, okay, final question. If you were to give any advice to people who wanted to get into recruitment, what would you say are kind of the 3 biggest bits of advice?
First of all, I would say take time to make sure you find the right place. So I was lucky enough to work for a great place before this, and also a great place now.
So what was it here then that stood out?
Well, it was a number of things. It was the model, the whole account manager 360 model that we loved, and I really wanted to do a delivery thing, but also I had the chance to not just be a resourcer here. It was the location, it was the office, it was the people, it was everything. But what I did find when I was looking around for jobs was I interviewed at a lot of places, and I learned that so many of these companies are very different, and I've sort of walked into here. I remember that my first interview, and just sort of knew that it was right. I just knew that it was right, and I wanted it, and I came out of the first interview, called up the recruiter that put me in and was like, I want it. I just wanted it after the first one. So I think it's really important that you take your time. Don't just jump on the nearest job, because a lot of recruitment companies out there, right, and a lot of them will hire you, but just really take the time to do your research, speak to different people, interview at different places, and make sure that it's right for you. So that would be one. Second would be work hard, and again, it's very cliche, everyone says it, but it's so true. There's no getting away from it. You will not succeed in this job if you're not willing to put shift in and work hard.
I think it's been smarter as be smart as well. Everyone says don't work harder, work smarter. I think everyone can always work a little bit harder. Anyone. If you say you're never slacking off, That's absolute BS.
Yeah, it is.
But it's being smarter with it. Okay, if this is going to take me X, well, why don't I try and do this to work around that? Or...
Yeah, and I completely agree.
And I think we've got some tools here that show you don't have to work harder, it's smarter.
Yeah, definitely. And perseverance.
Yeah.
I think that's why most people who fail in recruitment, if you like, don't really like using that word, but I think most people who fail in recruitment is because of perseverance, unfortunately. Like, there are some tough times, that really are, like when things aren't going well for you, you're having no results, you're seeing no results, end of the day you're always carrying a number, it's stressful, but you will come out the other end. Has there
been times where you've gone, I'm going to give up?
Not I'm going to give up, but there have been times when I've struggled.
Yeah.
Honestly, there have, like, it was the first sort of, I was never used to carrying a quota.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you're working towards a target. I've got a figure on my head. You're working towards a target every month, and don't get me wrong, like, I've never been put under pressure here to the point where it's been uncomfortable. Like, no one's ever come to me and said, right, you need to worry now. Yeah. But personally, you're always thinking about that number. You're always looking at that board.
I think everyone knows here, regardless if you're... And I think that's a great thing here about... It's such a eclectic mix of people. You could be 22, you could be 52.
Yeah, 100%.
Everyone's got a target on their head, and everyone knows they've got to work to do that. And if that's getting support from other people, everyone kind of chips in. Everyone knows that, individually you've got a target on your head, but actually everyone is trying to aim for that kind of target.
We're all here for the same reason, and we're all chipping in to achieve our overall target as a business, as an office, but personally as well. So through the bad times, you have to keep going. You have to dig in. You have to persevere. Work hard, persevere. Make sure you find the right opportunity.
You should have that on a t-shirt.
I think I will. Walk around the office with that on.
Perfect. It will help here, I think.
Yeah. I'm sure they'd all love it.
They would, yeah. Well, Jamie, have you enjoyed the podcast today?
I have. Thank you very much for having me on. I've really enjoyed it, and I look forward to coming back on. Excellent.
Well, thank you very much for coming in today.
Pleasure.
As we said, each week we've got brand new podcasts. So if you work in recruitment already, it'll be tips and advice of how you can work smarter, not harder. Or it could be talking about what we do here at MrL. It could be talking about our models. It could be about progression. But we thank you very much for listening today. Make sure you can comment. Make sure to follow us on social media. We've got our pages on LinkedIn. We've got our pages on Facebook, on Instagram. And you've also got us on YouTube as well. So again, Jamie, thank you very much for coming in.
Cheers, Billy.
And we will listen. We won't listen. We will hear from our next speaker next week. Thank you for listening to the Honest Recruiter podcast. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and even subscribe. Keep your ears peeled for the next episode.